Hey guys, and welcome to the Apple iPhone 5 review. And if you want to see the unboxing of the new iPhone, then click on the link provided up top. Now, the new iPhone comes in the white color, and it also comes traditionally in the black color. But this time, the black has a black bezel all the way around, and it also has the slate part in the back. They're both made of aluminum, but the white carries the aluminum around the band and back. So they're both very sleek devices, and they really show when you see them in person. And they are extremely thin, and let's go over some of the specs that you're going to see on the new device. You get iOS 6, you get the new 4-inch Retina display. You also get the new A6 processor that can be clocked as high as 1.3 gigahertz down to 500 when it's throttling. You get the new 4G LTE connectivity, the first on any iPhone. And you get the improved 8 megapixel camera with HD front facing camera. And you also get this new updated design. Now let's look at it alongside the iPhone 4S, and you can really tell the screen difference here. And it is definitely thinner than the iPhone 4S and much, much lighter in weight as well. And you can really tell when you stack them side by side with each other. And you can tell that this is a new generation device. And it's even thinner than a lot of the current devices today, such as the Samsung Galaxy S3. Now, the 4-inch Retina display is definitely something to talk about because it is very, very nice. It is as crisp as the iPhone 4S screen was, and I think it's a little bit better on contrast. And you can really, really see the difference here, and the color accuracy is also very, very nice on this screen. So you will not be disappointed with the 4-inch Retina display. Now let's take a closer look at the iPhone 5 Retina display. And I try to film it here a little bit in the dark so you can kind of see the viewing angles of this display. And you will not be disappointed with it at all. You can really see that the viewing angles are very good. And it is on the glary side, but at the same time, what smartphones aren't at this time. But you can really see that the color replication is very good. And the touch response is really, really good on the iPhone 5. So I really wouldn't worry about it. You can really see here that the performance is very, very fast on the iPhone 5. No stutters. I really can't get it to lag. So you'll definitely be impressed with it. Now let's talk about some of the improvements to Siri.
Looking up Matrix. Well, there's a red pill and a blue pill. Lots of black leather and guns. A sort of love story, I believe.
If you ask it about certain movies, it knows what it's about. What movies are playing in my area today?
I found a few movies playing quite far from Spring Hill today.
How old is Seth MacFarlane?
Okay, Benny, here you go.
How old is LeBron James?
Looking up LeBron James. LeBron James is 27 years old.
Who won the last Detroit Lions game?
Detroit was beaten by Minnesota last Sunday. The final score was 20-13.
So Siri knows both sports scores and stats.
What app can I open for you?
Open Fandango. So if you have a lot of apps and really don't feel like digging through your app drawer or going through different screens, then you can just tell Siri to open it. So that's a pretty good inclusion. You still can't go through Wi-Fi or change system settings and things like that through Siri. I wish they would include it in iOS 6, but it is not present. So let's talk about Apple Maps. And there's been a lot of criticism about Apple Maps, but in my area, it seems to be just fine. And it does have turn-by-turn navigation, which is a nice addition. I know Android phones have been enjoying this for a long, long time, but it's nice to see this included in the iOS 6 and iOS devices, especially on this iPhone 5. You can see the pinching, zooming, and everything is very, very good. And the navigation is pretty easy to set. And all you have to do is kind of search for a place here. And I can go over the new 3D, which is on here. And that's probably the biggest notable difference on this map system, since this is not Google Maps anymore. This is the Apple branded maps that is in conjunction with TomTom. So you can take a look at the satellite view. And the iPhone 5 handles the satellite view and 3D very, very well with this triple core GPU that is included in the new iPhone 5. You can see it really has a lot of graphical muscle, and you can kind of pan around New York and take a look. And it does have some checkerboarding still on it, but you can really tell that the graphics on the iPhone 5 works very well, and so does the maps. If you look at the turn-by-turn navigation, this is also what's very cool, is that while you're doing navigation, it plays on the lock screen. So it'll update you through the lock screen, and you don't have to sit there and worry about it or having the navigation open. It'll just update you through your lock screen. If you want to see where you're at, you just hit the lock screen, which is nice. It'll show you, and it'll also update you while you're driving on your lock screen instead of opening up the app itself. So that's a pretty cool inclusion to iOS 6, and I think you'll appreciate that. And that's one of the new features of the iOS 6 navigation on the iPhone 5. Now, most importantly, let's talk about the phone call quality on the iPhone 5. For if it doesn't make phone calls good, then it's not worth anything. So you can see that the microphone is on the bottom, and you can also see noise canceling on the back, and also there is noise canceling inside the earpiece inside the iPhone 5. So that's what makes the noise canceling very, very good on this device, especially on outgoing calls. And you'll be able to tell the difference on that. The clarity is very nice. The speaker is very nice as well. And I don't think you'll have any problems. I haven't had any drop calls in my area with the new iPhone 5. So let's take a look at the new App Store that is included in iOS 6. And I kind of like it because it is grouped pretty well. It's got different categories, different apps for different things, for, you know, like for Passbook and pets and travel, and those are nice, but I wish they would integrate the music and the apps into one store. And the notification shade also gets social options now. You can see tap to tweet and tap to post. You're going to need to download YouTube, since YouTube is not included in iOS 6 anymore, but it is written by Google and it's much more like the experience that is on the desktop and Android devices, so it's a thumbs up to that. But if you look here in certain apps on the iPhone 5, some of the annoying stuff is when you open it, you will see if it's not optimized for the 4-inch Retina display, that you'll get those black bars on the bottom and top. And I think that'll just get better with time. The developers just need a little bit of time to stretch it to the 4-inch display. So just wait a little bit and I think you'll be fine. And let's take a look at this new improved 8-megapixel camera. It doesn't have a whole lot of options, but you can see here that the focus is very fast, and the shutter is incredibly fast. So I don't think you really need to worry about multi-shot or burst shot, because you're going to be able to take as many shots as you need to. That's not a problem whatsoever. But if you look at the options here, you're only going to get grid, HDR, and panorama. So you don't get a lot of those white balance changes and things like that that you would see on something like the Samsung Galaxy S3. But the panorama mode is very, very easy to use. You just hit the camera button and just kind of follow the arrow. And if you kind of go off the arrow's path, then it'll kind of cut it off. So it's pretty much dummy proof on how to get the best panorama shot. Just try to follow the arrow as closely as possible. And when you hit done, it will stitch them together and you'll be able to see a panorama shot there. So that's not a very good example, but you see what I mean. The panorama is very easy to use, but it still lacks some of the manual controls on other phones. So here are some sample shots from the new 8-megapixel camera on the iPhone 5, and you can see that the color replication and detail is just as good as the iPhone 4S. I think it's a little bit better actually, and you can see that it picks up detail very, very nicely. I think it's slightly improved over the 4S camera, and you won't be disappointed with this camera at all. I think the shots come out great, and it's not hard to use, and you can even see in macro there, it picks up a lot of detail. Now in low light situations, I think it also handles itself very well. And you can see here, even on this candle shots, it picks up a lot of detail with minimal noise. Now here's an additional sample of a 1080p video shot with the iPhone 5. And I know I already put one up on my channel, but I just wanted to do another one just so you can see how good this 1080p video is. There's really no artifacting at all when you're panning around, and the A6 processor is definitely doing its job. It does not do continuous autofocus though, but you can easily tap to focus, and it does very, very well on macro shots. And if you're really wanting to know how good this camera is, this entire review is shot with the iPhone 5. Every bit of footage that's on here is recorded with the iPhone 5. Now, here is Passbook, just an accumulation of different cards and different coupons. There's no NFC, but this is Apple's answer to NFC, and it works pretty well. And you can just take this to the store and get those coupons run and put your gift cards on here. Now let's talk about one of the largest upgrades in the new iPhone 5, which is the 4G LTE connectivity on all carriers. This is super fast wireless, next generation wireless over the air, and I think that you will definitely like it if you're an iPhone user. Android users have been using this forever, but at the same time, let's show you how fast LTE is. You can see I'm not on Wi-Fi, but look at how fast the pages load. It's incredible how fast that LTE connectivity is. And I think once you have LTE, it's really hard to go back. And it's just incredibly fast, and I think you'll enjoy these data speeds for sure. Now, you can get some new sharing options in the browser as well and across the entire iOS 6 experience. So what do I think about this new iPhone? I think it's great. I think it's the best iPhone yet. It's got a beautiful 4-inch display. It's got 4G LTE connectivity, great camera, great build quality, great call quality, and you're not going to be disappointed if you get this new iPhone. But what is holding the iPhone 5 back? Really, it's the software. It's iOS 6. It just does not bring anything revolutionary at all, and it's just little minor increments of things that Apple keeps adding. It really needs a UI overhaul. Are you going to be disappointed getting this phone? Definitely not. If you're a fan of iOS, this is definitely the phone to get. But there are a lot of other options out there in the cell phone world. So I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. The hardware is great, but I think the software is still lacking. So subscribe to my channel today for a lot more videos, and I thank you for watching this review.